Some of you know me. I've spoken to this group a few times. And just to give you a little bit more background about who I am and why I'm interested in talking about this topic, I have a PhD in cognitive psychology from Princeton University and have done quite a bit of research in my life. And then, as some of you know, I ditched that career to be a rock and roll star for a while. So I've had a foot in both worlds and doing, scientific research and also in being a musician. And a couple of years ago, I wrote an article for a site called Lifehack. Do any of you know what it is? Okay. And I actually wrote an article about this, and it went viral, and it's been shared by 20,000 people so far, at least a couple of years back. So I know it's a topic that's really of interest. So that's why I thought you might like to hear about it today. So what I'm going to tell you about is independent studies. I don't think these people know about each other's work. I just kind of ran across these as I was doing research on how does music affect people, and this research is pretty recent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through actually 11. I said 10 in the description, but I have 11 for you. And full transparency, 8 of them are listening to music, and 3 of them are if you're actually playing a musical instrument or singing. So I'm just curious, how many of you have ever played a musical instrument or sung? Okay, that's quite a bit. Do all of you like music? Do you like some form of music? Yeah? Can you just tell me some of the kinds of music you like to listen to? I'm just curious. Jazz? Okay. Classical? Okay. Opera? Okay. All right. Blues? All right. All right. Does him? Folk? Yay, that's kind of what I do. Funk? All of the above. Okay. Well, these researchers do very different things in these studies. So maybe as I'm telling you about these studies, you can help me figure out what the pattern is that's emerging. I think I'm starting to see something. It's sort of new. So not all of the researchers even claim that they understand why they got the results that they got. So are you ready to get going with this? Okay. So I don't know if you know this, but I recently moved to Portland, Oregon. And I have a friend who comes up every once in a while, and we go to listen to live music, and the music scene there is really, really wonderful. And I noticed that every time we would go out, the last time was bluegrass music for me, I come home and I am in such a good mood. Have any of you ever noticed that? If you go out to live music, you feel good later? So it could be because you're drinking. It could be because you like the food that you ate. But also there is research that shows when you listen to music that is of your choosing. Okay, this was done at McGill University. So in this case, the people who were in the study chose jazz, rock, pop, or classical. And to reward them for listening to that music, they injected them with a radioactive substance that binds to dopamine receptors. And they found that after they listened to this music of their choice for 15 minutes, a huge amount of dopamine was released in their brains. Dopamine is known as a feel-good neurotransmitter. When it's released, you feel joy, happiness, and excitement. So some of the reason why you're enjoying music when you go out and listen to it is because dopamine is being released in your body. Is that not cool? And how many of you make a regular practice of listening to music? Yeah, not that, a few of you. And I'm a musician, and you would think that I would too, but I don't. But I think after listening, after hearing my talk, it might change your mind about how much you want to listen to music and how much you want to be aware of what your preferences are, because it could affect your health. Okay.
Is rock music?
According to these researchers, some of them would say yes. Okay. It's also been shown to lower stress and improve your mental well-being. So they did research that shows that if people listen to music, again, of their liking, and they're in the mood for it, so you can see these researchers are defining it slightly differently. So this was people are listening to music that they like, and they're in the mood for it. They found that the stress hormone cortisol decreases in your body. Are you familiar with cortisol? So, if you have a little bit of stress in your life, that's fine. That's normal. But if you have a lot of stress in your life, chronic stress, you start to have high levels of cortisol in your body, which is not good for your health. And in fact, research shows that 60% of all our illnesses and disease are caused or related to stress. They also found, and I want you to be thinking about how maybe you can apply this to your life, because I can tell you all these facts, but I would also like you to think about how maybe you could use this to lead a happier life. People who also sang along or played percussion while they were listening to music significantly decreased cortisol even more than people that just passively listened. So, what can you do the next time you're feeling stressed out? I'm serious. You can listen to music that you're in the mood for, maybe not rock for you. But you know what you can also do? Tap your foot to it. Tap your foot to it, and even if you don't consider yourself to be a good singer, sing along, because it can actually reduce cortisol in your body, and you only have to do it for a few minutes. Does that sound like that's a good thing to know? Yeah, okay. So the next thing, and there's a lot of classical music lovers in here, music helps you sleep better. Does anybody in here suffer from insomnia ever? I do. I didn't get a good night's sleep last night. I should have done this. It turns out over 30% of Americans suffer from insomnia. And more than half of us lose sleep because we're stressed out. So they're sort of related, these studies. So there was a study done with students. They were between 18 and 27 years old. And they all had sleep problems that they were complaining about. And so these researchers divided these students into 3 groups. One group listened to classical music for 45 minutes every night before they went to sleep. One group listened to an audiobook for 45 minutes before they went to sleep. And the third group didn't do anything different. And before they started the study, they measured their sleep quality using something called a Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index. So they measured it at the beginning and then every week. And does anybody have any guesses as to what they found? You want to guess? Tell me.
Classical was best.
Classical, yeah. Yeah, they significantly slept better than people that were listening to audio. I wish that I had had some classical music last night when I wasn't able to sleep. But yeah, so for them, they only used classical music. They didn't have people choose the kind of music they wanted to listen to. But in this case, they showed that classical music helped these people sleep better. So research has also shown that listening to music can reduce depression. That same study I just told you about, they also did another measure with the students, the Beck Depression Inventory, which I'm aware of that one. I've used that one myself before. So the same kids that were in the study that I just described to you, who do you think's depression changed in those 3 groups? Any of them? Classical. So not only did they sleep better, but they were less depressed. And this is sort of interesting because 350 million people suffer from depression around the world, and 90% of them also experience insomnia. So it kind of makes sense that if something's going to help one, it's going to help the other. So that's a good thing to know. There was another study that a man did in Germany, and he played around with the kinds of music. Because I know some of you were asking me, what do you mean by music? When they do different things in these studies. So he tried lots of different kinds of music. And he was able to replicate the effect with some kinds of music, but not others. So classical music, yes, still reduced depression. Meditative music, yes, still reduced depression. Techno, not so much. Heavy metal made it worse. So it's not just music in general makes your life better. It does depend on the type. So that's what they found. I think that's very, very interesting. All right. How many of you have ever had surgery? Surgery. Yeah, right? How much fun is that? So there's some research now showing that if you listen to relaxing music before or after surgery, they're different studies, so I'll break them down for you in a minute, it actually decreases your anxiety and makes you calmer before and after surgery. In fact, for the group that they studied before surgery, they compared them to people who were orally administered midazolam, which is what they usually give people before surgery to kind of calm them down. Have any of you ever taken it? It's not fun because it causes nausea. Sometimes people vomit. It makes people cough. And they found that listening to soothing music calmed them down the same amount. That's why I'm saying maybe start thinking to yourself, like, how do you, like you asked me, what do you mean by music? I think it's so individual in a way. What soothes you? What would soothe you? It might not be a bad idea to just sort of make a note of what it is and tell all your friends, because it could come in handy the next time you need to go to surgery. They also did research with people after they had open heart surgery. Half of them listened to music and half of them didn't. And they found that heart rate was the same and blood pressure was the same, but the people that listened to relaxing music after they had open heart surgery were a lot calmer and felt very loving and tranquil. Does anybody have any idea why that might be? They did discover why. Yeah, so the people who listened to soothing music after they had open heart surgery felt tranquil and kind of love for the world. And they weren't on drugs. They were doing that instead. And yeah, right. That without drugs. Anybody know what they figured out why? Anybody care to guess? Dopamine, probably, because that's what the other research showed, right? But they didn't look at dopamine because all of these people, they don't know about each other. Oxytocin. Oxytocin was released by the pituitary gland. And do you know what oxytocin is? It's called the love hormone. It's what's released when you hug somebody. It's released when a mother lactates. That was what happened when they listened to relaxing music. So they felt very tranquil and in love with the world after open heart surgery.
Well, if they heard rock music, would they have died?
I'm pretty sure heavy metal would have not been a good option. I don't know about rock music, though. Having played a little rock music, I kind of like rock. Yes?
Okay. When somebody shouts at you in the audience, you have to repeat the question because we're trying to record it.
Okay.
He does it all the time. So
Okay. He asked, what about rock music? And I said, I don't know, but heavy metal, definitely not. Yeah. It depends on the rock. Some rock music can be considered soothing. Yeah. Question. Or excitement.
It really depends on the particular track, because some of them are,
Yeah.
Within jazz, there's smooth music, and then there's a blasting you've got to...
Yeah, he's talking about jazz, and sometimes it's smooth, sometimes it blasts you. It depends on the track. It depends on the music. Yeah. Okay. So music also reduces pain. They did a study at Drexel University in Philadelphia with cancer patients. In this case, the music was either pre-recorded or it was music therapy. And they found that the people who had either went through music therapy or listened to pre-recorded music felt significantly less pain. And this was replicated with other people, with geriatric patients who were in pain. And again, they found that the type of music made a difference. So it had to be classical music, it had to be meditative music, or music of the patient's choosing, And they suggested that Bach, Mozart, and Italian composers are ideal. So if you're in pain, you might want to check out some Mozart or Italian opera, maybe. So it doesn't, it's not one size fits all. And I, again, think it really depends on the person. But so isn't that interesting, though? I mean, think about the next time you stub your toe. Turn on some Mozart. It might help. I don't know. It just seems like it could. Okay. So, this is my favorite one, and I actually have a clip I want to show you. It's a few minutes long, but I think you'll be glad that I showed this to you because it is so astounding. And they want people to know about this. It's from a program called Music and Memory. It's a nonprofit organization. Have you heard about them? They go around, I think, to over 140 residences now with iPods, and they find out the type of music that particular Alzheimer's patients used to like in their early years, and also patients with age-related dementia. So these are people that you see that can barely, we all know somebody like that, right? I mean, my father had dementia. My best friend's father has dementia. It's so many people have it. And they seem like they're unreachable, right? If they get to a stage where you feel like you can't have a conversation with them anymore, they just seem gone. You know about this, right? How this goes. So if you're able to play them music that they used to like when they were younger, they suddenly come to life. And so what I want to do, it's a few minutes, but it's really worth it, is I want you to watch this happening to somebody, okay? It's a wheelchair-bound man who barely can talk, and then they play him a little Cab Calloway, and everything changes. So.
I had one resident that really opened her eyes, she didn't respond. As much as I tried, I did it for 2 years. No matter what I tried, massage wouldn't work, nothing worked. But when we got introduced to the iPods, and the family told me the things that she liked, it was amazing once we put the iPod on her. She started shaking her feet. She started moving her head. Her son was just amazed. Okay, can we stop? Because now I'm seeing her all over again.
Hi, Papa. Hi, Papa. How you doing?
All right, fine.
Who am I? Okay, it's Jerry. How long has he been in the nursing home? Approximately 10 years. He was having seizures, and my mother couldn't handle him at all. Of course it affected me greatly, because he was always, fun-loving, singing, every occasion he would come out with a song, no matter where he was. I remember as a child, he used to walk us down the street, me and my brother, and he would stop and do Sing It in the Rain. He would have us jumping and swinging around poles. He was, he was good. He was always into music, always loved singing, dancing.
His name is Henry Drea. And I'm looking more or less for religious music for him. Because he enjoys music and he always quoted the Bible. So I'd rather have that for him.
We first see Henry inert, maybe depressed, unresponsive, and almost unalive.
Henry.
Yeah,
Henry.
yes,
I found your music. You want your music now? Let's try your music, okay? And then you tell me if it's too loud or not.
There he is, given an iPod containing, we know, his favorite music. And immediately he his eyes open wide. He starts to to sing and to rock and to move his arms, and he's being animated by the music.
And he used to always sit on the unit with his head like this. He didn't really talk to much people. And then when I introduced the music to him, this is his reaction ever since.
The philosopher Kant once called music the quickening art, and Henry has been quickened, he's been brought to life.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the music for 1 second, okay? Just to ask you a few questions. Okay? I'm going to give it back to you. Okay.
The effect of this doesn't stop, because when the headphones are taken off, Henry, normally mute and virtually unable to answer the simplest yes or no questions, is quite voluble.
Henry,
Yeah.
do you like the iPod? Do you like the music you're hearing?
Yeah.
Tell me about your music.
Well, I don't have none, my man.
Do you like music?
Yeah, I'm crazy about music. And you play beautiful music, beautiful sound.
Did
Beautiful.
you play music when you were did you like music when you were young?
Yes, I went to big dances and things.
What was your favorite music when you were young?
Well, I guess, Cal Calloway was my number one band guy I like.
What's your favorite Cab Calloway song?
Oh, I'll be on the Christmas. You can count on me with plenty of snow, mistletoe, present, wrap around your tree. Ow!
Sorry, that was me.
Yes, that really is named, he's reacquired his identity for a while through the power of music.
What does music do to you?
Give me the feeling of love. No man. Because right now the world needs to come into music, singing. You got beautiful music in. Beautiful, all of it. And I feel the band of love, dreams. The Lord came to me, made me holy. I'm a holy man. So he gave me this sound. Now they say, I meet you. Let me see. Rosalie, won't you love me?
With this beautiful new technology, you can have all the music which is significant for you in something as big as a matchbox or whatever. And I think this may be very, very important in helping to animate, organize, and bring a sense of identity back to people who are out of it. Otherwise, music will bring them back into it, into their own personhood, their own memories, their own autobiographies.
That's Oliver Sacks, if you didn't realize. Is that not cool? Yeah. Is that not amazing? That's why I couldn't just talk about that one. I had to show you. So do you have any ideas why maybe he came to life? Well, you know, I watched it this time, because again, these people don't know about each other, right? But I was just thinking, because remember he was talking about love, the love hormone, maybe? A little bit of that. But you know what, I think the more well understood reason for it is, and by the way, I don't know if you are aware of this, but 1 out of 3 people die with some sort of dementia. Either, you know, Alzheimer's or a different kind of dementia. So if you look around this room, there's a good chance there's going to be a few of us, right? So one of the reasons why I wanted to tell you this is because I'm on a mission to help make the world a better place in any way I can. You may want to think about what kind of music your wife likes, or what kind of music you like, just in case, or your father, because what they're understanding is, when I speak to you, I'm only stimulating parts of your brain. If I sing to you, it stimulates much more of the brain. And so what they think is happening is that the parts of the brain that are still healthy, because, Alzheimer's doesn't, take you out right away. When you play their favorite songs, it's stimulating parts of their brain that are still working. And that's why it works for a little while. You can have a conversation with them. Does that make sense? Is that not cool? Okay. I just love that. Okay. All right. Okay. Music also helps people who have strokes recover function faster and better. University of Helsinki. Oh, that's me, by the way. I stuck in a picture of me in there because they had 3 different groups of stroke patients. One group listened to music that they liked, and pop, classical, jazz, or folk. I figured I'd just put myself up there for folk. One listened to audiobooks for 2 hours a day after they had the stroke, and one did nothing. And then they did a bunch of cognitive function tests on them. And the people who listened to music they liked they healed faster, and they got more of their cognitive function back. Is that not interesting too? Music, dudes, music. I know it's an intellectual group and stuff, but my gosh, it's just, how can you not want to know more about this? I mean, it could really change somebody's life. So, stroke is the number 5 cause of death in the United States. It's right up there, so you might want to let people know what your favorite songs are and find out from your friends what their favorite songs are. Could really make a difference. They're not sure why, though. They're not sure why. They noticed that the music, a lot of the music that the people chose to listen to had words in it. And they noticed that their auditory memory and their verbal memory was better after listening to the music. So they think it might be because there were words in the music, but they're not sure. There's other research that makes me wonder if that needs to be the case, but just to hedge your bets, probably find some music that has words in it. But yeah, it can actually help you recover from stroke. So those are the 8 benefits of listening to music, just listening to it. And I just want to get back to that quote from Darwin. If I had my life to live over again, I would have made a rule to read some poetry and listen to some music at least once a week. I think everybody in here should make that a rule, including me. It's not a bad way to go because it can improve your life on so many levels. You can sleep better. I mean, here's the list. Whoops, that's not the list. Look at all the things it can do. Makes you happier. You sleep better. Reduces depression. It reduces pain. It helps you recover from surgery. It helps Alzheimer's patients remember who they are and have conversations with you. It helps people who have strokes. That's pretty amazing. So I know, I'm probably dragging, because even I have not been listening to music more since I put this talk together, but I'm going to tell you that I am pledging that I'm going to start doing this, and I hope that you will do the same, because I think we'll all be happier people for it. All right, so are you ready to hear about what happens if you actually play an instrument? Because this is interesting. All right, so I love, of course, Einstein. If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician. So this is now for mostly about kids, but it's also about adults. So I think you'll find this pretty cool. So at York University, they had... Yeah. I'm grabbing those quotes wherever I can find them if they fit the context. 4 to 6-year-olds, preschool kids, 4 to 6, were put in a couple of different training programs. They were interactive and kind of automatic. One was music lessons, and one was visual art. And they did this for a month, every day, for an hour. And the music lessons were in rhythm, pitch, melody, and voice, and visual art was shape, color, line, and perspective. Afterwards, they gave them a before and after, they gave them a vocabulary test, they gave them a block design, and they they did an EEG. They found that the kids who did the music, were in the music condition, 90% of them had a significant increase in verbal intelligence after just a month of 1 hour of music a day. significant increase. And the other kids, no difference, no difference. What was also interesting is when they looked at the EEG, the activity had changed in their brains. And it seemed to be associated with being able to understand words better and explain their meanings. The guy who did the research, Sylvain Marino, he's not sure why it happened. He's not really sure why. I don't think there were words in this music. That's what I find it very interesting. He calls it a transfer effect. Somehow, music helps you be better at words. Why? Not sure. Is it just kids? No, it's also in adults. You guys, if you wanted to pick up an instrument today and start learning how to play or even sing, it could also improve your verbal memory. They've shown it with, women, but I'm sure it applies to men too. But the research was only with women who were trained in music. So that's a very interesting fact. But I think this one is the other one that just really gets me. That Alzheimer's and this one kills me in a good way. 6 to 11-year-olds took, again, different conditions. Either they took keyboard or singing lessons, they took drama lessons, or nothing for 36 weeks. They measured their IQ before and after. They also measured how they did on standardized educational test results. The kids in the music group increased their IQ score significantly after learning to play the keyboard or sing. IQ. And they also did better on standardized educational tests. Can you believe that? Your IQ can actually go up. I don't know if it's for our age anymore, but for kids it certainly is. And what warms my heart, since I am a singer, is that when they compared this kids who took singing lessons and the kids who took keyboard lessons, the kids who took singing lessons did the best. Their IQ went up the highest, and I'm a singer, so ha-ha. But I just find that fascinating, and it also breaks my heart that they're pulling music from the school programs. And they think that it's not, related, but it is. Because it's showing that it helps people, kids have higher IQs, have better verbal memories. Why are we pulling it from schools? It makes no sense to me. So I just want to put a plug in for that too. And then the last one I want to tell you about is that it keeps your brain healthy in old age. I was going to ask if you knew who that was. What is he playing? That's Warren Buffett. What's he playing? It's a ukulele. Warren Buffett is 88 years old, and he's worth $86 billion. Anybody want to learn to play ukulele? They did some research with people who were between 60 and 80, and they divided them into 3 groups. One group studied music for 10 years or more, had studied. One group had studied music for 1 to 9 years, and one group studied music not at all. And then they gave them a bunch of cognitive function tasks. And it turns out, what do you think? The 10 plus, yay, that's me. 10 plus did the best on cognitive function tests. 1 to 9 did next best, and the people who had no music lessons didn't do as well. And it didn't matter if they no longer played an instrument. Even if they stopped a decade ago, it didn't matter. It still held. So what they think is happening there is when you learn, again, who are my people who play instruments? Okay, wow, that's cool. That's almost half of this room. Okay, so you guys, and then if it's never too late. It's singing counts. Singing totally counts. Singing is music, yeah. And in fact, raises IQ even more, just saying. They think what happens is when you learn an instrument or you sing, it creates alternate pathways in the brain. So we have more backup. So when parts of our brain are starting to decline, we have more backup. But again, it's never too late. I wanted to tell you a little story about, this is just sort of a summary of how it helps you. And it doesn't really matter whether you're old or young, healthy or sick, or happy or sad. Music has so many benefits for you. And I wanted to tell you a story about Glenn Campbell. Do you remember Glenn Campbell? Do you remember him? Do you guys remember him? He's not with us anymore. He had Alzheimer's. His wife did a documentary with his permission as he was going through, his decline. And they showed him, I watched it, and they showed him first speaking to his doctor, and his doctor telling him that he had, had Alzheimer's disease. And I remember the doctor was saying, and this is before I had done this research, so now the doctor was saying how interesting it was that his decline was going so slowly. In other words, he was hanging in there quite a bit. But the doctor did not know why. Well, now we do, because he had alternate pathways, because music reaches more parts of the brain, and he continued to play music. Yes?
My mother had Alzheimer's, and after a while she forgot my father, who she was married to for many years, and she forgot probably who we were. But my sister and I could sit on her bed, and we could sing old songs, and she could sing them with us.
Yes.
She could sing the songs, even
Yeah.
though she forgot.
Okay, well, we're going to have to bring the microphone to people if they're going to give long talk. You wanna
I'll
what
repeat
you
it.
said?
I'll repeat it.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was saying that her mother had Alzheimer's and she couldn't really recognize who her family was anymore, but she could sing along with them. Like on the edge of the bed, she would sing along with them. So, yeah, that's really cool. Well, so in this documentary, you're watching Glenn Campbell, and he's on tour. He went on tour when he had Alzheimer's disease. And at first, he was doing really well. But then after a while, not as much. You could see him starting to forget lyrics. And every once in a while, he would be moody, But what really warmed my heart, so it was getting to a point where I think they may not have finished the tour. But even when it was starting to go down like that for him, there's this one scene in the documentary that just warmed my heart. His family was in his band with him, and he and his daughter are in the bus as they're driving to another place to play, and they're both playing guitars, and he cannot speak very much anymore, but he is playing that guitar like nobody's business. It was just so beautiful to see them do that. So, so I just wanted to, close with a real world example. But they're still doing music research. It's coming out all the time. It's apparently able to help people heal from other ailments. They're finding that it influences babies' abilities to process speech sounds. There it is again. Music and speech, music and verbal. What is that? They don't know yet. So I don't know about these studies. They're being done right now, but they're happening, and it's really, really cool. So I just wanted to end, and probably I'll sing a song that I think you all know, because I know it's important to choose a song that people like, to get that all this good hormones flowing. But I just wanted to leave you with, I hope you do think about this, and I hope you think about the kinds of music you like. Maybe try listening every once in a while more than you do, and maybe really sit down and do some thinking about what kind of music do you like. Sometimes we forget, like when I was in Portland the other day and we went to see bluegrass, I forgot. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and my father used to drive us to Tennessee, and we would hear bluegrass music playing outside with the lightning bugs, and I did not realize how much I loved it. So I just want you to think about, what kind of music do you really love? Because it can make you happier, it can reduce depression in your day right now, but also later, if you have to go for surgery or you have a stroke, or, it can really come in handy to know and to do some thinking about it. So that is my talk. Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Okay, I will bring the microphone around, and as people raise their hands, I will give them the mic. And I'll try to keep an order where people raise their hands.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
A comment and then a question. When I had my first major surgery in '96, I was wheeled into the operating room before I went out, and they were playing Sade's "Smooth Operator." But I'm wondering how much of it is afterwards, if they're playing after it, is the anesthesia wearing off, and how much is the dopamine?
Well, the reason why in a lot of those studies, they had control groups too. So they both had anesthesia, but one maybe listened to an audiobook and one listened to music, and it was the music group that had so that's how they They had control groups for that. Yeah.
I was in the chemo ward at Stanford, and I guess the hospital had heard your theories and had hired a harpist to come and play for the chemo ward, and I don't know if you would approve of that, but it certainly,
Oh, yeah.
it was the only time I cried during chemo, so for me, it just made me cry.
But in a good way, right? No?
Yeah,
No?
I was sadder than...
I know. Yeah.
All right, I'll say something. One thing I think most everybody realizes is that you still remember the songs from when you were a teenager.
Yeah.
If they come on the radio, you can sing along, you know all the words, but forget everything else from that time. And the other thing I want to mention is I just saw this movie yesterday,
Yeah, I want to see
and
that.
it's about a man who is injured and wakes up and finds out that nobody knows who the Beatles are.
Yeah.
And he is a musician, and he starts singing all the Beatles songs. It's such an enjoyable movie. I absolutely loved it. Called Yesterday.
Yeah, I want to see that. Thanks for reminding me about that one. That's on my list.
Yeah, I find I was wondering, I like sad songs. Do sad songs make you happy?
Wow, I honestly don't know, but we could inject you with a radioactive substance and find out. I don't know. I don't know. They didn't talk about sad songs. So let me ask you this. Can you give me an example of a sad song? I'm just curious.
Going back to my youth,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of Lonely Teardrops.
Okay. That's a pretty song, though. It's really pretty, so it could be a few things going on there. I don't know.
There are other songs I like that aren't as pretty, but are just incredibly sad.
Okay. I'm not sure. He doesn't have a mic?
I don't have a mic. I'll pass it on, sorry. I'll get back to you later.
Okay, he just asked whether sad songs can make you happy, and my honest answer is I do not know, and I haven't done research on that, but I said that we could inject him with a radioactive substance and find out, if you want. I don't know because I haven't found research on that, so I'm not sure.
I'd like to point out that humans are not the only species that enjoy music. There are many others.
Such as?
Such as birds who sing to each other as part of the mating game, as whales who sing to each other and can be heard through the water at distances of 30 to 50 miles, and dolphins who sing to each other. It's a widespread way of communicating certain things.
Yeah.
And it's a good game.
Yeah. And if you look at a dolphin's brain, I don't know about whales, but I know dolphins, we have these huge occipital lobes in the back of our brains because we're mostly visual. That's our dominant sense. But for dolphins, it's auditory. So their auditory lobes, huge compared to ours.
Hey, so I don't know anything about music or singing or anything, but I do sing along to the radio in the car. Does that count?
Yes. Then you're going to probably be a happier dude. Less stressed. Yes.
90 years ago, when I was 5 years old in kindergarten, we had a music teacher. She had this huge crank Victrola. That was my introduction to classical music. I was absolutely enthralled. In fact, she taught us at 5 years old to identify the instruments even. Now, I understand they don't do that anymore.
No, they don't.
That's ridiculous.
I agree.
That was my introduction to classical music.
Yeah. Do all of you remember being... Yeah, it is. And some parents actually, she's saying it's up to the parents now. Some parents actually volunteer in schools to teach music. That's what they're... But come on, we can do better, can't we? I want us to do better. You've got the microphone, and then I'll get it. Yeah.
I have a rather offbeat question.
Oh, go for it.
What about music in restaurants?
You know what? There is some research on. I did not include every thing that I know that I put in that life hack article, but there is some research that comes from Georgia Tech, I think, for whatever it's worth, if you eat to music and the lighting is lower, you tend to eat less. So it's actually a good way to lose weight, is to have music playing while you eat. That I do know. Oh, okay.
Yes, another question about sad songs.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I don't figure this out. I grew up in the South. Country western music, everything is negative. There's just nothing positive at all. Then not to restrict it to that, you have like Simon and Garfunkel. Hello, my darkness, my old friend. Good
yeah.
to see you again. How negative can that be? How about Peter, Paul, and Mary, Blowing in the Wind?
Oh, I love that song.
Why even try? You can't,
I know what you're saying. Well,
I would love to see some opinions of why do people appreciate this instead of going with something cheerful, positive, or happiness. Thank you.
Okay. I prefer happier songs, but I like that Blowing in the Wind, because I feel like my dad fought in the war in Vietnam, and just, I don't know, the bigger picture of what life is and the preciousness of it all maybe is what I like about it. Yeah.
I just wanted to add to the bit about animals and music that actually at UC Santa Cruz, there is a video on YouTube that they were trying to find out whether animals that weren't related to humans or birds would respond to music. And there is an amazing video of them having taught a sea lion to move to the beat in disco music. So she's got like, I don't know, Boogie Nation or something going on, and she's headbanging to this beat, and it's hilarious. If you just look up UC Santa Cruz and the sea lion on YouTube, you can find it.
That's cool. I've also seen a YouTube video about a parrot just getting down to heavy metal. Like really doing it with the beat, you know.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Being older, I grew up with big band music and classical music and such. And I wonder if you have any explanation for the simplification of music. It seems like the complexity has greatly degraded, and music now has repetitious lyrics. It's only usually one instrument, or percussion and guitar, and it just seems a whole lot simpler than it used to be. And I'm wondering, especially I find it stressful in many cases. Most of the music you described was of choice. But I go into the grocery store and they're playing modern music. I find it very stressful.
Yeah, that's why when I do a song for you, I try to pick one I think you all will like, because I'm very sensitive to the fact that not everybody likes the same kind of music. I know. That's why there's benefits to it, but I did want to point out that sometimes it's not all types of music that benefit you, you know. And I think there is some personal choice in there, too. Because so I wanted to say, progressive music, I thought for a while when progressive music came out, it was very complex. But I do agree with you. I have seen that it's kind of gotten simpler in a way that it just, but you know, I wonder if it'll come back, because things seem to kind of come back later in different forms. But yeah, I've noticed that. And in fact, as a songwriter, we're taught to be repetitious. You want to put the hook in the chorus because then that's the title of the song, and then people will remember the title so they can find it when they're trying to buy it. You know, there's a whole kind of industry behind it, because music became the music industry. That could be part of it too. There didn't used to be a music industry, so that could be part of it. I'm guessing. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry Grass. I like music, but most of the time I can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But after 9/11, I very much needed to hear certain music. And in fact, what I did was I played "Blowing in the Wind" and "Imagine" a lot for several weeks. And then some member of the humanist community organized a secular memorial service. Most of the ones around here were religious, but she organized a secular one, and those two songs were what she played. So.
Those songs bring me peace and perspective.
Hi, I'm a language teacher, and I have a keyboard in my classroom. I used to have a piano, and I find that it really helps my students with their mood, their pronunciation, and also, you know, music contains a lot of cultural clues.
Yes.
And so, you know, we do a wide variety of silly songs and old-fashioned songs, you know, that are typically American. And so that's kind of one of the aspects of American culture that I like to bring into the classroom. What's really odd about it is no matter how silly or ridiculous or old these songs are, they really enjoy the break from, grammar, pronunciation, conversation groups, and just be able to sing and express emotions or whatever.
Well, and have you ever, he wanted to hear an example of the music that you do with the kids.
I knew I was going to go blank when somebody
I know, it's hard to be put on the spot.
Well, one of the songs we like is Do Your Ears Hang Low. And this is a great song for teaching locations, positions, and of course things like the hokey pokey, okay, which everyone says, go gag, retch. But they really like to get up and do that. It's something different, and it's something silly, and it's not like regular studying.
Yeah, and you're probably improving their verbal memories and their IQs while you're doing it. I think you might be. The research indicates that, but I think it's great that you do that.
In answer to the question of why do people like sad songs, people have sad things happen in their lives, and the songs are a way to express it or to feel it. So, say somebody just dumped you and you're singing a song about, you left me and I'm so sad. It's sort of a way to go through that experience with the music and help you to deal with it.
Well, I can say as a songwriter, I definitely writing a song about a sad event helps you work through it. And there is research from a guy named James Pennebaker who has shown that if you write in any way about a difficult experience in your life, you actually heal faster from it. So maybe there might be something to that vicariously. Yeah, might be.
I'm wondering about
hi.
Particular aspects of music. I think, for example, major versus minor keys and fast versus slow tempos.
Yeah, they could be playing around with all of that. I don't know, but it would be very cool to play with some of those and see how the hormones react to that. I do know a little bit about beats and rhythms, and it does, when you're kind of getting very rhythmic music going, it also involves the cerebellum a little bit, because that's in your motor cortex, because that's why you want to, it activates it, which is why it makes you want to dance. It's spreading to your motor cortex. Yeah.
Okay, you go ahead. I think I was a teacher, and my son's involved in education now, and I think music is coming back into the classrooms with the onset of, with the popularity of Hamilton. Teachers are beginning to find that this is stimulating an interest in history, and teachers are beginning to use rap in the classroom. And even though rap is, it's kind of questionable to what elements of music it has, it still has rhythm, it has beat, and so forth.
Yes.
So that's, and then the ABC song is how people learn how to say the alphabet, and that's still used by a lot of parents.
Well, I'm staying with a friend who told me, she's a teacher, and there's something called Schoolhouse Rock. Do you know about this, where they teach you how to pronounce words, and they teach you how to like gerunds and nouns and verbs? They do it in song, and she still remembers the songs that she learned as a girl, and remembers that. So it's music. I think it's partly because it activates so much of the brain that it goes in deeper.
Two quick things. After 9/11, I started listening to KCSM because of jazz to wake up to.
Mm-hmm.
I now have something on my phone, Bach piece, but I went to a Hamilton karaoke thing at Mountain View Library yesterday, and that was a lot of fun.
Was it? That sounds like fun, Hamilton
The thing
karaoke.
that's funny is that the rap stuff was harder for me to remember. The King George sound like Achy Breaky Heart breakup songs, or Daydream Believer or whatever.
That's very cool.
I wanted first to thank you for doing this. It's so important because it seems like music is really getting second class in education. But what I was going to mention is the blues is so sad that it's funny. They're actually pulling, they're pulling on your comedic. I mean, some of the things, that they say are so sad and done in a jocular fashion that I'd love to see the words run one way and the song runs another way. So anyway,
Yeah, that's interesting. I like the blues. The blues don't give me the blues. See, I don't know, this sad song thing, I'm going to Google it. I'm going to Google it and get back to
Okay.
you. I promise, yeah. I don't know off the top of my head, but...
Sing us a song.
Okay, I think I'm going to take this off, though, because my voice is very loud. What do you think? Or
No,
do you want to
it
just
won't
turn...
record well if you take it off.
Okay, do you just want to turn me down, then?
Okay.
I promise you that you do not want me to be screaming.
Okay, we'll take care of that. I had one more question over here. Can you do that before you start?
Yeah, absolutely.
This will be the last one until she sings.
Okay.
Speaking of the sad country and western songs, I just remembered a solution. You take the music and you play it backwards. Your wife doesn't leave you, you don't lose your job, your children remember you, and so forth.
And you still have that six-pack of beer.
Still works.
And your abs.
Okay.
All right, let's see, guys. Let me just move some things around here. So, yeah,
Let's let her
thanks.
start talking.
I hope this thing doesn't fall off. It keeps wanting to fall off. I don't know. My head's too little. No, that's okay. I hope it just, yeah. Well, there's a, do you know? Yeah, I know. Okay. Well, let's see. So, here, I need my cheat sheet. So there's a wide range of ages here, so I wasn't sure. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say about the kids. So I'm playing at a little gig tonight in Campbell, California, and of course in California, Michelle. I moved to Oregon, sorry. I was just in Atlanta. I don't know where I am anymore. In Campbell, California. But my guitarist and I, we met in a park yesterday to just practice some songs, and all the kids that were playing, they just all stopped playing, like say you're us, and they just all did this. It was just like so cool. Anyway, all right, I hope I can do this. But I try to pick a song. This is a song that I notice when I do it. Most people seem to know it, and sometimes they sing along, so I hope I picked a good one. It's kind of country, but it's not. I don't think it's sad. You guys tell me. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is older, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like the breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place that I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. Can you feel the dopamine? It's just flowing. All my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. It's falling. Misty taste of mountain, teardrop in my eye. Can you hear me? Country roads, take me home to the place that I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. I hear her voice in the morning as she calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. I'm driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday. Country roads, oh, take me home to a place where I belong. Oh, West Virginia, oh, Mountain Mama, oh, take me home. more time. Country roads, oh, take me home to a place where I belong. Oh, West Virginia, oh, Mountain Mama, oh, take me home. Country roads, oh, take me home. Country roads. So hopefully you got some dopamine, cortisol. I can do another one. It'll probably be one of mine. Yeah, okay. This thing is falling, but you guys can hear me. Can I just take it off?
It works fine from there.
Does it? Okay. It just probably looks weird, but okay. Let's see. I think I brought another one. But this is more my stuff. So again, I know you don't all like the same kind of music, but I can tell you one thing. Okay. I teach these workshops helping people find their superpowers, their unique creative gifts, and I write songs about it too. And I noticed, I've been doing it for 20 years, but I noticed about 6 years ago I decided to place a song or two in the workshops because the songs are also about making breakthroughs, and people made breakthroughs faster than before I did that. So now I always have a song. So I'm going to play you one of the songs that and it also happens to be on the charts right now in the United States. Thank you. Okay, let's see if I can remember how this goes. Did not practice this one. Do you ever feel like life is passing you by? You're a hamster in a wheel, just trying to keep up with the times, and everyone else seems to be getting it right except for you. What should you do? Well, shake it up, well, shake it up, remember your dreams. Shake it up, you're closer than you think. Shake it up, follow your heart. It's never too late to do what you love. Shake it up. Do ya ever ask yourself what you really want to do? And I mean from your heart, not from your head, not a should. When you were a child, what made you smile, made you feel good? Do that again. It could be your calling. Well, shake it up, remember your dreams. Shake it up, you're closer than you think. Shake it up, follow your heart. It's never too late to do what you love. Shake it up. Thanks, you guys. So now, hopefully, you got a little bit more dopamine.
What are the words of Taylor Swift? Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Okay.
I wrote mine before she wrote hers. I actually really did. I did. Okay.
Okay, so I guess it's 12:15, actually 12:17, so shall we prepare lunch?
Yeah.
And,
all right, thanks,
start
you guys.
about 12:30. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thanks. Thank you.